The centerpiece of El Salvador's stringent anti-crime initiative, a mega-prison where visits, recreation, and education are prohibited, was utilized as part of U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration enforcement, where hundreds of immigrants facing deportation were moved there. These immigrants, reportedly affiliated with the
Tren de Aragua
gang, were transferred under an agreement in which the Trump administration will provide President Nayib Bukele's government with $6 million for 1 year of services. Bukele has turned the Central American country's severe prisons into a hallmark of his crime-fighting efforts.
El Salvador tiene un futuro brillante por delante de nosotros. Gracias en gran parte a usted.
In 2023, he inaugurated the Terrorism Confinement Center, where the latest rounds of immigrants were sent this month. The migrants were deported following Trump's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a law that has been utilized only 3 times in U.S. history. This law mandates that a president must declare the U.S. is at war, granting them exceptional powers to detain or deport foreigners who would typically be protected under immigration or criminal laws. Trump asserted that the gang was invading the U.S., and subsequently is using this wartime authority to target the gang members. A video released by El Salvador's government on Sunday depicted men disembarking from airplanes onto airport tarmac, flanked by officers in riot gear. The men, with their hands and ankles shackled, appeared to struggle to walk as officers forced their heads down, making them bend at the waist. The video also featured the men being transferred to the facility in a large convoy of buses, accompanied by police and military vehicles as well as at least 1 helicopter. The footage showed the men kneeling on the ground while their heads were shaved before they changed into the prison's all-white uniform, which consists of knee-length shorts, t-shirts, socks, and rubber clogs, before being placed in their cells. Confined to their cells for all but 30 minutes a day, denied visits, and forced to sleep on stainless steel cots without mattresses, this is the life in Latin America's biggest prison. Bukele ordered the mega-prison bill as he began his campaign against El Salvador's gangs in March of 2022. It was built to house El Salvador's most dangerous gangsters. It opened a year later in the town of Tacula, about 72 kilometers east of the capital.
Vowing not to feed prisoners if there are revenge attacks on police.
Hagan eso y no va a haber un tiempo de comida en las cárceles. Uno. A ver cuánto tiempo duran sus homeboys allá adentro. Les juro por Dios que no comen un arroz. Y vamos a ver cuánto tiempo duran. Y no me importa lo que digan los organismos internacionales, que vengan a proteger a nuestra gente, que vengan a llevarse a sus pandilleros. Si tanto los quieren, se los entregamos todos al 2x1.
The facility has 8 sprawling pavilions and can hold up to 40,000 inmates. Each cell can fit 65 to 70 prisoners. Some 15,000 members of the MS-13 and rival Barrio 18 gangs are being held at the nearly 2-year-old facility. They were rounded up under a state of emergency imposed by Bukele after a surge in gang violence in 2022. The prisoners do not receive visits and are never allowed outdoors. The prison does not offer workshops or educational programs to prepare them to return to society after their sentences, with some serving sentences of over 200 years. Occasionally, prisoners who have gained a level of trust from prison officials give motivational talks. Prisoners sit down in rows in the corridor outside their cells for the talks or are led through exercise regimes under the supervision of guards. Bukele's justice minister has said that those held at the facility would never return to their communities. Bukele's crackdown on gangs has been praised by many Salvadorians for leading to a drastic drop in the murder rate. The prison's dining halls, break rooms, gym, and board games are for the guards. The government doesn't regularly update the figure, but a human rights organization, Cristalso, reported in March of 2024 that El Salvador had around 110,000 people behind bars. That's more than double the 36,000 inmates the government reported in April of 2021, just a year before Bukele ramped up his fight against crime. The inmates at the facility leave their cells only when they have court hearings by video link from a room in the prison, or to exercise for half an hour a day in the large hallway. They shower with water from a large basin inside their cells and collect water from a large plastic barrel to drink. Their staple diet is beans or pasta, with the government expressly prohibiting meat. About 1,000 prison officers, 600 soldiers, and 250 riot police guard the facility where the MS-13 and Barrio 18 members share cells, despite being mortal enemies. They are watched 24 hours a day by CCTV cameras and guards. During a tour, prison director Garcia described the inmates as psychopaths who will be difficult to rehabilitate, emphasizing that that's why they are here in a maximum security prison, that they will never leave. Garcia instructed the inmates in one cell to remove their shirts, exposing bodies adorned with intricate tattoos of women, tombstones, skulls, crosses, and gang insignia. Bukele has led El Salvador since 2019, winning the presidency by vowing to crack down on the crime and corruption that had plagued the nation. The crackdown manifests in mass arbitrary arrests of anyone who fits stereotypical demographic characteristics of gang members, like having tattoos, a prior criminal record.
For 10 days, the country's national police has been operating with less restrictions. They say they've arrested over 6,000 suspected gang members, tracking them in neighborhoods, inside homes, and even hiding underground. The crackdown in response to one of the deadliest weekends in El Salvador, authorities reporting 67 homicides in a single day, prompting a state of emergency that gave way to mass arrest and tougher punishment to gang members already behind bars.
As a result of the ongoing mass arrests, El Salvador now has the highest incarceration rate in the world. Since President Bukele imposed the state of emergency in El Salvador in March of 2022, hundreds of gang members have fled to Mexico, the US, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, and Spain. Authorities reported that they detained 4,357 alleged gang members in just the first 7 days of the state of emergency. Within a month, that number surged to 34,000. Now, after more than 2.5 years, a total of 80,000 individuals have been detained. According to President Bukele, there were more than 60,000 active gang members in El Salvador.
Bukele's government has dramatically increased sentences for gang activity, up to 45 years for adults, and a possible 10 years for children as young as 12.
While gangs have been dismantled in El Salvador, they have not disappeared entirely. Before the state of emergency, it was common to encounter gang members on the streets, but now they are largely absent. Most are in prison or on the run. Some were captured while attempting to flee, such as a gang member found hiding inside a coffin on top of a private vehicle en route to Guatemala. According to the government, those who remain at large within the country, approximately 17,500 individuals, are hiding in woodlands, dugouts, or barricaded inside houses. Bukele's tough-on-gangs persona has earned him widespread popularity at home and abroad. He has fostered an immediate friendship with the new US administration in particular. Bukele and pro-government Salvadoran media insist that the crackdown on gangs has transformed El Salvador into the safest country in Latin America.